Okay, so you had a big announcement just yesterday about Palmyra, and writer.com is releasing a set of foundational models. They're three different sizes, and it's really exciting because I always thought that this was the future of foundational models. We started with the generic ones. We had GPT-3, we have a whole host of other LLMs, and then inevitably they were going to become more focused on particular use cases. And so, do you want to describe a little bit about the inception story of Palmyra, the motivation behind it, and a little bit more about how exactly it would work at a company today?
Yeah, totally. We started experimenting with the OpenAI APIs maybe more than 18 months ago. And we're super early on BERT, super early on T5. We knew we wanted to be both an encoder and decoder company as a result of the just where our customers' use cases were going. And I think even before our customers got sophisticated enough, honestly, to be telling us the things they were telling us and for kind of all of us together to be seeing the future together, it just never felt right that we would ever be able to build our whole business on APIs that were available to everybody. Like it felt like such a non-defensible play. Even before it became literally mission critical, we were already building Palmyra. And so it has been amazing just how quickly our customers' use cases have developed and their sophistication and maturity has accelerated, as well as our own team's ability to just really learn the technology. Inference here is huge. We are a product that is built into real-time processes. And the generations and the results have to be blazing fast and very good. And those two things are quite hard. And so it took us a while to really assemble the killer team that you need to be able to do and build your own model and put it into production. It's not a research project. It's not like it works once and it's okay, or it works in a test environment. Like it has to work. And so, yeah, that was really a journey that started 18 months ago that led to the announcement we made yesterday.
And can you walk me through the thought process of what eventually led you to deciding on going down this route? Because obviously there's other companies that are approaching it a bit differently. But I'm curious why you landed on the building your own models and letting companies fine tune that route instead.
Yeah. When we were raising our A, we told people we were going to be doing this. And I don't think most people believed us. I think the best investors, like literally 2 seconds into the pitch, were like, oh, and then you're going to build your own. And we're like, yeah, duh. And it wasn't even a thought process as much as like it was always going to happen. And I think for us, like our early journey into transformers, it gave us a ton of confidence. We told people we were going to be spending a few $1,000,000 to do this. This is use of proceeds. I don't think that most people believed us, honestly. Obviously, the folks that invested did. And the thought process came down to us wanting to be the company that defines the way that professionals and AI work together. And enterprise problems have always been what me and Wasim are most excited about. Literally, what are the things we do at work and how can those things be made more interesting, more exciting, faster. I don't want to spend 16 hours at my desk. And most knowledge workers don't. And I think bringing AI into those workflows has always been our motivator. So it's just going to be impossible for us to build our vision out without owning the entire stack ourselves.
The approach that writers taking is more of a privacy first approach where companies will own the models and then train them on their own data rather than all of the training and all the personalization living in the cloud somewhere. Why this approach? I'm curious, like the quick pros cons breakdown of why this approach.
Yeah. I think in the enterprise, accuracy matters because it is not about write anything or decide anything. It is like super specific and a very high bar. Like we are talking 4 nines, right, in terms of what is expected. And without getting a lot of proprietary information and decisions that you've made previously into the models, you're not going to get 4 9. And you're not going to get that data if everybody else is going to get it as a result of giving it to an LLM. And it's really the only logical conclusion conclusion to that kind of conundrum?
I have a ML engineering background, and then eventually I ended up on the growth side of things, and I did a little bit of product marketing in between. And one of the challenges that we have in the growth side of things, on a product marketing side of things, is just generating enough content and generating enough collateral to equip the sales team and things of that sort. And with tools like writer.com and other content creation tools, that's become a lot easier. The next progression was always going to be personalization, like personalizing content to the context of the specific company, so that it's not just the generic stuff that everybody's going to be able to get from a chat GPT or any other generic tool. How does this next sort of phase of writer.com, with these fine-tunable foundational models, how does that help companies with creating their own brand voice and then augmenting on top of that brand voice rather than the more generic models that most people are using?
Yeah, I would add to that even that the space is moving so fast. I don't want to say too much, but soon we're not even going to be needing to fine tune anymore. And so a lot of these processes built on LLMs are way stations while the underlying architectures get innovated on. We've got more to say on that soon, but let's take the fine tuning concept at face value. It's remarkably different. It's content that feels, oh, wait, did I write this? You're confused. You're really not sure. If maybe you actually wrote it before, right? It sounds so much like something you would have written. And we sell to professional writers. We don't sell to teams where everybody sucks at writing or it doesn't matter that much. It's not perfect, right? We sell to folks where the bar is already quite high and they want to just do more of that high bar. So the fine tuning is really important. Being able to stack fine tune models, right? That's really where we are right now. And you can't do that with the other commercial models. And they might be able to add that, sure, but even that only gets you so far. The title being the right length, and the CTA starting with non-gerund verbs, and there being the right number of lines for every blurb on your landing page. Like, for it to be helpful beyond a surface level, oh, this broke my writer's block, to really be able to power processes and change how teams do things, to get the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of savings a year, requires just a deeper level of integration of AI into a business process. And so we're in the business of that. We're in the business of uncovering that pain. We're in the business of solving those solutions. And there will always be a massive market, growing and massive, for personal productivity augmentation, right? Like your Chat GPT Pro. We're building the team-based AI augmentation product.
And in terms of stacking fine-tuning models, I'm curious to learn more about that. What are the use cases, or what are the applications that you've seen, whether it's writer.com customers or outside of that, where companies have leveraged stacked fine-tuned models for augmenting their writing process?
Yeah, I can give you the example of United Healthcare. They're one of our largest customers. And so you start with Palmyra, then there is smaller brain on top of that is healthcare. There is a smaller brain on top of that brain that is Optum. And then within that, there is wellness, there is communication, there is thought leadership, right? There is internal comms and internal operations use cases. You're pulling from a foundation model, but you are really able to do quite a bit more of just specification as you go through those stacks. And then there's post-processing as well, in terms of just making sure things are coming out, exactly how a person would have written it or analyzed it.
Interesting. So it's almost like profiles for the different types of writing that you do, because a blog post might be different than a newsletter that somebody at a given company might write.
And generation is almost content generation is one aspect of what large language models can do. Sometimes customers are using Writer to generate an answer that gets fed into a process. And so what you're training on is previous examples of the analysis, if that makes sense. And we'll have a lot more to say about that too soon.
Okay, so I want to take a step back and I want to get your thoughts on what content creation at companies is going to look like in the future. A lot of folks nowadays are very unsure. They don't really have a POV on this. With everyone having access to tools, what is the future going to look like? Are we just going to see the internet being spammed by generic content? Are we just going to see so much content that people are going to start to ignore it? What do you think the future of content marketing looks like, and how companies can stand out in this future that's moving at breakneck speeds?
Yeah, I certainly think that the way that we index information isn't going away. The way that users process that index is certainly changing. I think is funny because it is going to be content that is created by AI, yes, supervised by humans, to be read by bots that then answer the question for humans. So I do think the consumer search experience is like irrevocably changed for the better, and SEO as a practice goes nowhere. It's going to continue to be really important because we have to index information in databases. Like the algorithms for figuring out what is true, what is good, that is a service that Google will be providing till we all die. That's my point of view. The way a consumer digests that is certainly changing. So from a company perspective, content marketing, top of funnel, I don't think there's a big change. And the faster you can adopt to having coverage for everything that matters for your brand, the better it is. And certainly doing it like the way that Google asks you to do it, which all of our customers get enormous SEO uplift using Writer, including us. We are literally one person in content, 2.5 million sessions a month. So that is a lot of AI. Visitors, actually, not sessions. Sessions is higher. US content marketing in general, I do think as a result of top of funnel being bots talking to bots, people talking to people will take on even more importance. And the more that a brand can infuse its voice and its unique points of view and like what it stands for as a brand in those human to human conversations, the more that it's going to stand out. So I do think there's going to be just this kind of lopsided barbell to the human interaction. It's not going to mean that top of funnel isn't as important as it is today, but I do think if you lose the human piece, it won't matter that you won the bot.
With Palmyra, how can companies get started with it? How can companies leverage it today?
So using the 2 open source models is as simple as getting them on Hugging Face, and you can actually try both models on Hugging Face before figuring out how to implement them into your applications. And we already have customers who have just one-off use cases as well as kind of test use cases already using them for app production use. The 20 billion parameter model, Palmyra large, isn't open sourced, but the API is coming to the self-service plan, which we are excited about. So that wasn't part of the announcement, but that is coming in a couple of weeks. And the same access that our enterprise customers have to both their custom apps as well as the out-of-the-box apps and the underlying model, our self-service customers will have as well. So all of the same security and privacy. The self-service plan doesn't have the custom fine-tuned experience that enterprise customers have, but it is a really good model. And for our B2B use cases, it beats DaVinci for all of the benchmarking tests, etc.
What are you most excited about in this space and Writer's role in this space moving forward?
Oh, I could not be more excited. It is so fun to have a space we've been working on for a decade be what everyone is talking about and is excited about. And we have so many champions and power users that have been in content their whole lives too, and they're the center of the innovation conversation. It's not social and mobile and Web3 and things that like didn't really impact our lives. So I am really excited to bring everything that content folks have gotten smart on over the past year plus to like mostly every other function too. So deepening what we do for content people and then really bringing the power of this generation of AI tools across the enterprise, across all the teams on the enterprise. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun next few years. We're hiring everywhere. And these are real problems, real customers, lots of user-facing roles at Writer, from NLP and ML all the way to user education and success. So it's a really fun time to build something huge in this space.